All right, hello everybody. Всем привет. Today I'm going to be working on damage spells. So this is things like lightning bolt, fireball, storm, Armageddon, meteor shower, and also turn undead, which doesn't actually do damage. It just like obliterates an undead creature stack. So it literally destroys a stack. The damage count doesn't matter. Resurrect is kind of the opposite of a damage spell, where it's adding hit points back to killed creatures. And teleport is a little bit of a special case where you're just moving a creature from one hex to another. And I wanted to try and squeeze that in. And so what I had done is I looked up the damage animations for these various spells. I looked up the magic animations as well, and maybe I can pull those up here. Um, so, like for example, let's look at Fireball here. So this is a sprite that then gets mirrored. So this is half of it, and it displays the other half, and that hits the center hex and all of the adjacent hexes and does 10x spell power in damage to those hexes. Um, Another example, maybe I can find Storm, which is a different sort of animation sprite. Here it is. So this is basically like rain. If I animate this, you can sort of see it's like rain, but this is tiled over the entire map. So it's not just like storm on one element of the map. It's the actual, like, this animation playing over the whole map. Um, Teleport doesn't really have an animation or a spell effect, and then these damage animations. Let's just see if I can pull one up quickly. Like uh, Red Death is. I think this is from Meteor Shower. It's not from Armageddon. I actually checked. I thought this would be for Armageddon, and it's not. So this looks like a pretty grisly way to die. It's just called Red Death. uh, that's different than, say, Poof here, or physical. And I think let's see, where was physical? Here's physical. This physical is the normal bloody cloud that you get when you take physical damage. There's also cloud, which is like what genies and ghosts attack. This is the damage animation for that. There's blue fire and electric fire. There's several of these. Let's see. Blue fire is like a dragon attacking you. And then elect fire is interesting because it is what lightning bolt does. So this is elect fire. So it starts off with kind of these electric things, and then it switches into this sort of yellowish version of red fire. And electric this is the cloud damage. So like storm apparently causes electric damage, like lightning damage. And so this is the damage animation. And typically the damage animation is just like the first few sprites of this. And this for the fourth, would you say this? The fourth sprite is usually large enough to cover most creature sprites. And so it creates this magic disappearing effect when the fourth. So if a creature isn't killed at all, like if you have a dragon that's unaffected, okay, it actually won't affect the dragon. But if you have a phoenix, let's say, and you only do 50 damage with storm, the phoenix makes the pain, the wince animation, the death frame, but it doesn't even get this this damage. If there was enough damage dealt by the spell to kill the phoenix, to kill a phoenix, then you would get the first few frames of this animation indicating that one phoenix was killed, or maybe at least one phoenix was killed. But if there are still phoenixes remaining in the stack, that's all that will happen. If all phoenixes are killed, if you just have one phoenix, somebody has a spell power of 5 and casts Storm, that'll do 125 damage. That will kill the soul phoenix you have. Then you would get the full range of animation, and after the 4th frame of animation here, the phoenix would disappear. And so it creates this like cloud poof disappearing effect. So anyway, I'm highlighting the animation of the spell effect for things like Fireball or Meteor. Meteor is also a good one. Let's look at Meteor quick here. Meteor. Here we are. So Meteor, this is then also kind of like Storm. This happens on each tile. And then I guess I said Red Death. I was guessing. I need to actually play through the game again and test Meteor Shower and remind myself what the death animation is. But I put in Red Death. I can easily change this. It's just changing this ICN listing to whatever the actual damage animation is. So Red Death is a fine placeholder if I'm a little unsure. I also went through and cast these spells and listened to what the different sound effects were. And I think previously I had specified spell 01 through spell 18 were the sound effects. I missed that there was a spell 00 for Fireball. So I have to update that. And I think that is going to cause a minor issue with an off by 1 error, but we'll get to that later. So anyway, so I submit that spell damage info, my basic battle screen, battle resources, spellbook, sound.h, and my game main file. Rebuilding the game engine for Heroes of Might and Magic 1. I recently added creature enchantment spells. Now I want to add attack spells, and I list those out. And then I list the animation, that we have the animation of the spell, and then we also have damage animation. And then when does the sound play relative to the damage animation? If no creatures are killed, we just get the wince animation. If some but not all creatures are killed, we get the first 3 or 4 frames. And if all creatures are killed, we get the full 10 frame animation and the creature disappears. Armageddon, I basically explain each effect. So Storm tiles over the entire screen. Armageddon actually just tints the screen to dark red over 10 frames and then lightens, and then the damage animations play. And I thought, I was pretty sure initially that Armageddon was the red death image, but it's actually red fire. Part of me wants to change that because I think the red death kind of makes more sense in an Armageddon spell versus red fire, but I don't know. I'm curious if anybody has a comment, please leave it. I would love to just take a survey. But you know, it's pretty easy to change these things, and it's just a matter of opinion, and doesn't really matter that much. Fireball and Meteor Shower both cover a hex and all adjacent hexes. The sprites are mirrored to cover a larger area. So I was guessing that Meteor Shower was mirrored, and now I know that you actually place it over the targeted hex, and then the animation also plays over each adjacent hex. Whereas Fireball just plays over the targeted hex, but the sprite is big enough that it covers the adjacent hexes. Then I explain the damage calculation, and I explain the animation. I explain the damage calculation for Meteor Shower animation. Lightning Bolt doesn't have a casting animation, it just has a damage animation and a sound. Resurrect does have an animation, but and it does have a sound, but it restores instead of damaging creatures. And then this is an important limitation, that it's up to the maximum of a creature stack at the start of a battle. So you can't grow your creature stacks by casting Resurrect. That would be a neat bug, but I don't want that to happen. So Turn Undead destroys a stack of Undead. No damage is needed. But the sound plays during the animation. The damage animation is always the full death animation of 0 to 9. There's no partial damage. And then teleport selects a creature, and then you get a second icon of teleport to select an empty hex tile to teleport the creature to. And the sound is played when the creature is being teleported to the other tile. The sprite disappears from one tile and reappears on another tile. This requires 2 adjacent empty tiles for a big wide creature to be able to teleport to. If a tile's not teleportable because it's occupied or not large enough, then it shows a non-castable icon for the cursor, which is number 29 in spells.icn. I guess I closed that window, but let's see if we can pull that up quick. We're looking at spells. So this icon here is the not targetable spell, or not targetable icon. So all of these spell icons, this is what the spell is displayed as in the Mage Guild. It's also displayed this way in your spell book. When you cast these as an effect spell like haste or blind, these are also the icons that are used to tag the creature to indicate that spell effect is enchanted on the creature. These are also the cursors when you're targeting the creatures. Maybe I just said that, but if I didn't, I repeated myself. That's okay. And then anyway, I tell the AI, help me cast and animate these damage spells from the general screen spellbook and play the sound effects. Still, only one spell can be cast per turn. Compute damage to creatures and process adjacent hex tile damage for Meteor Shower and Fireball. So it wants to read some files, and I stopped because I forgot to add in some of my documentation. So it comes up with a plan that's going to add some new spell indices, load the new ICN assets, new battle phase entries, and state machine for screen darkening for Storm and Armageddon. The area of effect ICN splash. So for Fireball and Meteor, they have a larger area of effect and then multi-target damage as well. And then the teleport 2-step and then resurrect for healing. And then this area of effect spell is extended for new whole screen spells. So previously the area of effect spell was only for cure and dispel magic. Now it's for Armageddon and Storm. And their targeting mode is extended. So hex targeting for Fireball, Meteor, Teleport. Friendly only for Resurrect. Turn Undead should not be friendly only. That's wrong. And Teleport. I have everything I need. Let me write. And I actually don't know if Teleport is friendly only, if you can teleport an enemy creature. Probably it's friendly only, but we'll see. But yeah, Turn Undead should not be. So I haven't tested that. I haven't implemented the graveyard events yet to be able to test Turn Undead. So this may be introducing a bug. We'll see. We'll worry about it later. So it goes through. It's such a long process. I have to click continue. Goes through again. So it made some changes to battle screen. It added more indexes. Loaded the files, loaded the spells, added this area of effect spells, particularly Storm and Armageddon. And it actually, instead of doing area of effect for Fireball and Meteor Shower, it did hex targeted. So, and actually Lightning Bolt is also hex targeted. But Fireball and Meteor are hex targeted, but they have splash over effects and affect the adjacent tiles. So it added this battle phase. It extended it to add these additional elements here where you can have a teleport in, teleport out. Because when you first cast teleport, you have to pick the creature, and then there's a next phase where you pick where you teleport it to. So more resource loading stuff. This is for animation, the tick stuff, and applying damage and drawing damage, drawing animation. And let's have a look at what popped out of this. So, battle damage spells minor bugs is the name of this build that I have saved. Let's have a look here. So we may have to build some spells. We may have to build some of the Mage Guild to be able to get these spells, actually. Okay, well, we got a lightning bolt. That's cool. Thankfully, we don't have wisdom in Heroes 1. So as I learn new spells here, I can, well, at least Crag Hack with his 1 knowledge is still able to get 1 shot at casting these spells. Well, we didn't get the 4th level spells, but we're doing okay. We got some stuff that we can test. So let's go test it and see what happens. So first let's try a lightning bolt. It played the fireball sound, waited like 2 seconds, and then disappeared. So I think the damage worked, the damage animation worked. That was the electric fire animation, but it played the wrong sound, and there was sort of a weird delay. Let's see, what else? Can we teleport this guy? So teleport did work, but if you notice, the second icon was not teleport. It was like the fly icon or some other movement icon. So there's a slight problem with the teleport icon. But I mean, that's pretty functional. And also what happened that's wrong here is that it canceled the paladin's turn. It was the paladin's turn to move. When I selected to teleport him, it passed his turn. So that's not quite right. And apparently Fireball worked great. Teleport worked, but the second cursor was a movement cursor and not the teleport magic spell sprite. Oh, I guess I went all the way to the bottom here. Let's go back to where were we? This was the long spell computation. And I tested Berserker, and the creature enchanted with it walked to the same square as another creature. The spell countdown did not wear off. And the creature enchanted with Berserker did not attack the nearby creature, which should also counterattack. So I guess I wanted to debug some of the Berserker spell here as well. And I guess I didn't get a chance to test Lightning Bolt in that initial one, but we did see the Lightning Bolt bugs here, and I'm sure I will fix it later. So teleport, it just wasn't fixing, it wasn't drawing the right combat cursor, so it just fixed it and uses the spell image. Berserker spell countdown, there was something going on with the way it was counting down the spells. Okay. So anyway, it thinks it fixed this. I went in and manually adjusted the spell sound effects because I noticed that Lightning Bolt was playing the Fireball spell sound. And so this was the correction that I made to this case index here. So Lightning Bolt should play spell 01, and Fireball should play spell 00. For some reason, some of these were being like let's see, what's a good example? Like some of these were randomly having 1 added to them instead of this case number being the spell number. This is mapping the spell index to the spell sound effect. So because they're not like 1-to-1. Sometimes they are in the game. Like a lot of the creature sound effects are 1-to-1 with the creature ID, the creature index. The sprites are indexed that way, but the spells were not. I feel like some of these might have been played around with at the last minute as they were developing it. Maybe we can ask one of the programmers one day what they were doing. And then I also want to add in that dragons shouldn't take damage from Storm or Armageddon. So the creature is magic immune is already working, so the dragon is already immune to the effects of Armageddon. So we have to fix the sound effects stuff. And I guess I might have been happy with that. Let me see what my next build was. See what the results were. This one is called Damage Spells Are Working Okay. So let's see what that is. And the next build after this is improvements to sound spells and then fixed meteor teleport. So I think this is just an intermediate improvement. Let's see, so we got Bless and Slow, but there's no level 1 damage spells. Magic Arrow wasn't created until Heroes 2, I think. So we got Cure. Let's see if we can get Fireball. Usually we get Fireball. Well, we got Teleport. I guess we can go test Teleport. So let's go test Teleport quick. So we see the sprite. We can teleport this guy and teleport him here, but it still canceled his turn. So that's close. It's a little better, but it's still not quite right here. So anyway, I documented it, and then the sound for Fireball was missing, and the lightning bolts. Yeah, so here's where I noticed that earlier, but I basically wanted to get the sound effects playing on channel 3, and I also, we can still play the pain and other death noises of creatures on channel 2, so that when the lightning bolt strikes, the creature will cry out in pain, and the sounds can overlap a little bit and mix for you, for the listener. So it does some correction on the sounds. And I definitely have to go through some more sound plays, and I gave it the current files because it was like, oh, I don't see the fixes from the previous session were never applied to the file, and every time it does that, it's messing up which files it's reading from, and so I just stop it and I give it my current files. So let's see what improvements to sound spells has for a build. Okay, we got blinds, but still no damage spells. Okay, we got Berserker. Okay, we got an Armageddon and a Meteor Shower, so that's pretty cool. Let's see what happens now. So let's do a Meteor Shower, and I did not actually specify that the game should do this highlighting of the area. It just did that naturally. You see the red death. It didn't really play the sound quite right, and it didn't animate fully how I would like with Meteor Shower. It was just the two mirrored. So I'm not super happy with how that went. I mean, it's okay. I don't have ranged attacks implemented yet, so the archers are not going to be able to shoot. But let's do an Armageddon now and see what happens. Okay, that kind of worked, and at least it ended battle. Alright, let's actually test Berserker quick and see what happens here. Okay. Berserker seems like it's working. Actually, it seemed like he got 2 attacks with Berserker. That's kind of weird. Maybe I'll have to check that later. And let's just cast another Armageddon and see what happens there. So, yeah, Armageddon kind of, I mean, it works. The animation's a little funny. It needs to probably be tuned a bit. Let's see. The Fireball was still silent. I would like to test Fireball. Let's do another run here quick and run a test on Fireball if we can. We got haste. Okay, what did we get? Well, we got Storm. We can test Storm. So let's go test Storm. Alright, so Storm worked. Again, the animation, timing, sound, you know, slightly off on these things, but that can be adjusted later as we figure it out. So I wanted to do some documentation updates, and then I start playing around with lightning where I want to remove the 10 silent frames of animation because there's this delay with lightning. So I wanted to remove that. So let's see what my next build was. Well, this one says fixed meteor and teleport. So it's so close, but actually I want the winds to play immediately after the spell sound effect, not at the same time. So I'm still working on the sound improvements. And probably I can go back and see if I can show the improvement to sound spells. I really want to show Lightning Bolt if we can, because I think this build improved that. No, blind, still no Lightning Bolt. Let's see if we can get Fireball though. Nope, no luck. Okay, well, we'll start again. The random number generator is not in our favor today. No, we're getting bad bad mage guilds. I kind of want to make a quality of life option to remove the view spells in mage guilds because I think they're pretty useless. I'd love to hear if somebody like really makes or breaks their game with the view spells, but I've almost never cast them. It seems like just a waste of a spellbook slot to me. Okay, well, we got Fireball, so let's test Fireball at least, see how that works. So that looked pretty good. Sound played correctly. So I think, well, the lightning bolts we'll see in the next build if we get the fix, because I really do want to show you guys lightning bolt towards the end here. So I'm still playing with the sounds for lightning bolt and the delay there. I give it the latest file because, again, it's like the previous session's changes weren't integrated. It's like it just can't seem to read the latest file. Like, I mean, my session is getting long here, so it starts to like lose track of stuff. It just loses track of context. So I just have to keep constantly saying this is the latest file. So make some changes here. I got some errors with the sound effects here somehow. And then I made a mistake with the sound happening after the damage animation. So let's revert that change and let's make the wince sound play after 4 frames of animation. So I'm playing around with the timing a little bit. There's probably a better formula for doing this, and I probably need to sit down with the game and actually like do some like slow motion sound recordings, and then I can figure out, okay, how long did this take? How long did it take for this many frames of animation? How long did the sound take to play? When did the sound start? At what animation frame? That's like meticulous, but that's the correct way to do this. And then somehow my tooltip on the battle screen started showing creatures as slower than they are. Like, let me see if I can just even pull that up. Nope. So that's been fixed by this point. But I did run into that, and so I'm making notes there. The battle screen teleport takes away the creature's turn, and it should not. If the creature was flashing yellow, they can be teleported and take their turn. So, and then can you also make an update about that in the battle sprite? And then here I want to fix Meteor Shower to cover the 7 hex tiles, the center and each center adjacent tile. Because previously you saw when I cast Meteor Shower, it actually just mirrored and sort of covered, like, the mirroring was centered on the center tile, but I realized that that's not how the spell is actually shown. So it did some changes here. The way it started talking about how it was going to use, instead of drawing one center, draw the meteor left half sprite and independently on each of the 7 hexes. The AI misunderstood me, so I just stopped it and I said, no, it's just for 1 hex, not a mirrored pair. So there should be 7 frames, each centered on a hex, 1 center hex, and the 6 adjacent nearest neighbor hexes. So once I get that corrected, or at least I think I did, now it says all 7 hexes show the same current frame simultaneously, or it's actually going to assign. Yeah, it misunderstood because Meteor ICN has 7 frames. It thinks that the meteor shower is going to happen across like 7 different frames, and I was like, nope, that's not right. There's 10 frames of animation. We want all 10 to play, but on each of the 7 hex tiles. So once I got this, now it understood me, made the changes, and let's have a look at what the final build was here, because I believe this is our last build. So let's hope that we get some good random number generations here, and we get a good mage guild with some good damage spells that we can test. Okay, nothing so far. Well, we got a Storm and a Resurrect. Let's see if we can get a Meteor Shower or Okay, we did get a meteor shower, so that's nice. Let's see what's over here. Alright, we're gonna fight some goblins. So let's... That looks pretty good to me. You know, there's a little bit of timing and animation off there, but I'm satisfied with that. Alright. Can we cast... maybe we cast Resurrect. You know, some of these spells are working. Resurrect was one of our damage spells. I still want to try and get Lightning Bolt here to demonstrate how that was working. This is Thundax, right? Yeah. Nope, nothing. I've had to, when I was testing this, sometimes I had to respawn this like 10 times to get a lightning bolt, which is pretty crazy. But hopefully that's not the case here. Nope, summon boat, really useful on a land... Well, I guess this isn't a landlocked map, but it's... I've actually wondered if it's possible. It might be disabled in certain maps where no shipyards can be built. I'm wondering about that. So, if anybody knows, if anyone sees summon boat in their mage guilds on maps that shouldn't, well, where summon boat would be useless. Please let me know. That'd be cool to know. Nope. Well, it'd sure be nice to get a lightning bolt. I feel like I get lightning bolts almost more often at the spell shrines than I do at the mage guilds. Nope. Sort of jinxed it when I said it took me 10 times during one of my tests. But that is realistic. Nope. Man, maybe I should just edit this part out of the video. Yeah, I think I'm gonna do that. I'm gonna edit this out of the video. Yeah, definitely. This is a waste of time here. There, we got a lightning bolt, finally. Okay. So, who are we gonna cook? How about some of these guys? So, it didn't kill them all, but the sound effect did play, and I'm pretty happy with that. So... Anyway, I updated the documentation, and that was the end of our damage spell addition to the game. And I was pretty pleased that teleport just kind of worked, even though it wasn't a damage spell. Like it was pretty easy for the AI to get. I did have to adjust the cursors and that weird bug with the turn being lost upon teleportation. But once we got that working, we also fixed the hex animation of Meteor Shower. We had a couple takes on that, but so far it's working pretty well.